This is your broken news.
So how about this new studio, huh?
Not too bad, not too
What do
shabby.
you think out there? Looks like the old one.
Kind of comparable, at least, I hope.
It's different.
It
Trust me, it's different.
It is different being in our new home. I'm not quite used to it yet.
Well, it's a good move, and I think I could get used to it.
We're on the ground level. At least we're not stuck in the basement anymore.
That's true. Moving on up, one floor at a time.
To the north side.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 72nd episode of the Broken News. I'm Justin Harris.
And I'm Cody Best. And it's a beautiful day in Sanders County, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is.
And of course, we are looking to make your day a bit brighter by bringing you some important and interesting stories, such as footage of Supreme Court Justice hopeful Nell Swandle as he introduces himself to Sanders County.
And a furry look at Pet Fest, a special event of the Thompson Falls Market.
And we'll take you on a trip to Hot Springs for the first annual Blues and Bluegrass Music Festival held at the historic Symes Hotel.
And we'll also be bringing you sights and sounds from the Sanders County Democratic Convention held in Trout Creek at the Knotty Pine Saloon.
And maybe we'll even show you some footage from last year's Huck Fest to get you ready for this year's Huck Fest.
Well then, let's get down to business.
And speaking of business, there's a lot of it.
I'll say, with our station about to convert to digital and our TV district about to bring up to 11 new free channels, we've got our work cut out for us.
But, you know, the show must go on.
But I'm expecting a really important phone call, and it's about the content for our new SNDRS TV, and the new channel is going to morph from 36BW to SNDRS TV, and well, I can't just take the call on TV. That'd be tacky.
And we do have to get our content providers' agreements from all the other stations just to make sure all of our ducks are in a row before we go through this big switch. So,
and we also have to prepare our presentations to prospective donors.
Yeah, we'll be knocking on a lot of doors.
And we've got to assign titles and numbers to all the new channels as per the FCC regulations.
Well, with that all in mind, I'm not sure we have time to introduce all these stories that we've compiled for this week's episode.
Well, excuse me. I gotta take this.
Okay, then.
Hello.
Well, then I guess we'll go to our footage of Supreme Court Justice candidate Nell Swandle, who visited the Thompson Falls High School for a town hall-style meet and greet. Take a look at this.
This event is put on by Sanders County Conservatives, and our co-chair Art Hassan and his lovely wife Kathy have been the major coordinators and organizers for this. I am here as the candidate committee chair. It does give me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished guest. He is a district court judge for the Montana 6th District. That includes Park and Sweetgrass County. Those include Gardner and Cook City. Also, he is running for the Montana Supreme Court, and with that he brings experience that is sorely lacking for the members of for the Montana Supreme Court. So without me elaborating, let me introduce Judge Nelson.
I'm not going to talk for that long tonight. I'm a judge. I'm not used to talking to people. I'm used to talking at people. This campaign is a whole new thing for me. I'm anything but a polished candidate, and frankly, my campaign manager sometimes gets a little upset with me. Now, my wife, Deborah, who's right here, she's traveling with me again now. She used to just give me a piece of paper when I had to give these little talks and try not to say anything too stupid. That was her advice to me. And I took that. All right, she's probably right about that. So I didn't worry too much about that. So my wife, Deborah, we've been married over 30 years. It'll be 31 years to 12, right? Yeah, very good. All right. I was born in Wilsell, Montana. Nobody here knows where Wilsell is. Well, I was born in Livingston. But we have some people that know where Wilsell is. I live on the family ranch, which is 5 miles north of Wilsell. Wilsell is between Livingston and White Sulphur. The town and our ranch is right off 89. So except for time I was in active duty and some years I spent in Livingston when I got back from active duty, I've been on the ranch my whole life. I'm certainly the only candidate that had to feed calves and milk cows before they could go to school in the morning. I'm sure about that. Probably on the whole Supreme Court. Went to Montana schools, Wilsall High School, graduated from Montana State University. I know they're all Grizzly fans here in this neck of the woods, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm really stuffed up. I don't know what it is, but must have allergies I didn't know about when I came up here. Went to the University of Montana for law school, but I will be straightforward and honest. When the Grizzlies and Bobcats play, I root for the Bobcats. They're only 35, 40 miles away from me, so I grew up there. After graduating from law school, my mother is an attorney, and my daughter is an attorney. And my dad died right when I graduated from high school. And so my mother ran the ranch, and she's still running the ranch, basically, and had her own separate law practice at the same time. And so I worked, when I got back from active duty, I worked in her firm. There were 3 or 4 of us at the time, and I was also Park County Public Defender. So I've been defense attorney. I was a defense attorney in the Army. So in the Army, I was a prosecutor, I was a defense counsel, and they set me, my last 6 months or so, in charge of the legal assistance office at Fort Ord, California, where we serviced 20,000 soldiers, family members, and retirees. And so I ran a big office at that time, 5 attorneys, multiple staff, and I was happy they put me in charge of something. I was only a captain. I think they thought I was going to stay in, and I really wanted to stay in. I loved active duty, loved the Army. That's why I stayed in reserves and guard for 30 years. But my wife said, we're not moving every 3 years. We're leaving. We're going to Oregon, where she's from, or going back to Wilsall. And we ended up in Wilsall. After I was in private practice with my mother and public defender, I was asked by a lot of citizens of Park County, would you please run for county attorney? So I did that, was elected very easily, did a lot of different type of work as county attorney. I was there for 12 years. I was asked to run for judge by the attorneys in town when the judge we had was going to retire. And I was elected in '94 as district judge in Park County and have been there since then. So I'm in my 16th year now as a district judge. And of course, everybody knows here, do everything from DN cases to criminal cases, all the civil cases, jury trials, etc., etc. So I'm very involved in the community. I know a lot of judges, when they get elected judge, they think they have to shrink back and can't be too involved. I'm still involved in the community. I have brochures there. You can look at those brochures and find out. I was in hospital boards, Southwest Chemical Dependency Center boards. I started the CASA program. If you don't have one here, you need one. And if you have any questions about CASA, just call me and I can get you in contact with the people to talk to about that organization. I told you this race was a little different. The judge's race, I found out that my First Amendment rights as a candidate stop about right here, as a judicial candidate. And we're a nonpartisan race. I really can't talk about my opponent. I can tell you I'm conservative. You know that. That's why I'm here. You can Google me. You can Google my opponent. My opponent's been endorsed by the Montana Conservation Voters. You can go on their website, and they have a little bio of her that you can look at, and her involvement with environmental issues. You can ask people around. You can go to the Montana Wilderness Association, where she was certainly a member, and her husband's an executive director or something, and find out. But you're going to have to go dig all this stuff up about me, and I want you to, for both me and Beth, and Beth's the name of my opponent, remember, everything you read isn't true. So sometimes you have to take it with a grain of salt, but for the most part, you can find out something about us, and you have to do that. It's very frustrating for me as a candidate wanting to talk about something and know that if I do, will I be in trouble. And so, and my wife is here to monitor that. She lectured me, now don't say this, don't say, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's up to you to get the word out about who we are and what we stand for.
That was highly informative.